So what exactly is keyword harvesting and why is it so important for the longevity of my Amazon PPC success? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Ben and a full-time brand builder, founder of brandbuilderuni.com, and I've got to be honest, a little bit of an Amazon PPC geek. I love learning new things about PPC. It's one of my favorite things to dive deep into, and hopefully this video is going to teach you something helpful about PPC. If you want to keep learning new stuff about PPC and want to follow my journey, I'm currently managing around $20,000 to $30,000 a month in ad spend on Amazon, and that's growing all the time. So hopefully you're going to find this channel useful for you, and today's video that would be useful as well. Okay, so keyword harvesting is a principle whereby you would continually find new keywords based on your existing ad campaigns. So a lot of you, when you're starting Amazon PPC campaigns, is you will do some keyword research, and that's great and definitely should be done. But what often we can fall into the trap of doing is setting up an auto campaign and a manual campaign, putting our auto on and then putting those keywords into the manual and almost setting it and forgetting it, and kind of hoping that those keywords are going to perform well because, well, the keyword research tool told me they were the best keywords. Now, there's a few things at play here. Of course, your product may convert differently to other products, and some products may perform well on some keywords versus other keywords. And there's so much that goes in that really data has to be tested. You can't just make decisions based on what you think will perform well and think won't perform well, which is why a robust keyword harvesting structure is really, really important. I talked previously in a video, which I'll link down below at more length, about a campaign structure that I use to manage all of my PPC. And recently I've added in category campaigns to that, which is a topic for another day, but they're performing quite well. And so I've added them into this structure. But essentially what we're doing with keyword harvesting is finding new keywords all the time. Because if you just stay with your list of 20, 30, 50 keywords, then your PPC can stagnate. And what I teach, the long-term goal of PPC, is actually you want to find the biggest list possible of long-tail, high-performing, highly relevant, profitable keywords that you can advertise for. If you're selling a classic yoga mat, then you're going to find it very difficult to profitably advertise on the keyword yoga mat. It's very short, it's very broad in its possibilities, and it is highly competitive. Whereas if you were to be selling a yoga mat that was extra thick and had some straps, then the keyword extra thick yoga mat with straps is going to be a lot more likely to convert for your product. And so what we want to do over time is find as many of these long tail keywords as possible because they're going to be cheaper. However, of course, the traffic isn't going to be as much, the volume isn't going to be as high, so we need to try and find as many as we can, and that's where keyword harvesting comes into play. If all you ever do is do your initial keyword research and try and leave it at that, you're going to be leaving so much money on the table. So you need a good strategy for harvesting keywords. Now, this really does depend on a good structure in place. Here's a structure on screen that I would suggest having a play with and trying out. And what you're going to want to do then is take your keywords, harvest the keywords initially from that auto campaign. Any keywords or search terms that are going to be converting in that auto campaign, you're going to want to promote them into a campaign where you can continue to test. I set it up as a broad match research campaign, and then any search terms within that are converting, I will then add as keywords in my exact match scale campaign. Similarly, on the ASIN side, it's a little bit of a different structure because of the way things work. I will actually feed the ASINs that are performing well from the category match into the scale. And then, of course, any ASINs that are converting in my auto campaign, put those into the ASIN scale campaign as well. And how do you actually go about setting this structure up? Well, there's a couple of ways. You can either do it manually, which is where when you're doing your weekly, bi-weekly, however often you do it, optimization schedule for your PPC, not only are you going to be checking your bids and removing any keywords with negative keywords if you don't want to appear for them, is make sure you're looking for keywords that are performing well and you're actually moving them through your system. What that looks like for me is at the moment, and this always changes because I'm kind of testing things and tweaking things, but at the moment the criteria that I'm using are search terms in my auto campaign that make 2 sales, no matter what the ACOS is. I just want to see 2 sales because I want to see that it's definitely a relevant search term. 1 sale sometimes can be random. 2 sales, I know it's at least somewhat relevant. I'm going to then move that up. I'm going to give it more focus inside my broad research campaign. And then I'm going to keep testing that. And then when I see 3 sales on a search term within my broad campaign, then I'm going to take that search term. Remember, keywords and search terms are different. Keyword is the seed that you're saying to Amazon, I want to show for the search terms related to this keyword. Broad match means it can be mixed up in any order. And so I want the search term that's converting well. I'm going to take that if it's made at least 3 sales at a semi-decent ACOS, nothing crazy, but just enough that I know if I optimize it, it could perform quite well. I'm going to take that search term, put it into my scale campaign where the theory is I can really scale that budget up. So I'm going to be looking through my search term report for any search terms that are converted at least 2 times in my auto campaign or at least 3 times in my broad campaign. This is going to take a bit longer. You can reduce those numbers if you want. You can take a search term that just performs once and you can put it in both your broad and your exact if you want to. I prefer to be a little bit more controlled over it, but of course that is up to you. So that's kind of how you would do it manually. The other option that I'm of course a huge fan of is automating this process somewhat. I actually use Selex's PPC tool, and here are the rules you can see on the screen that I have set up. There's an auto flow keyword rules. I've got a whole bunch of different rules in there, but here's a couple of examples. I've got the auto flow, which is basically promoting the auto the search terms from auto to broad. Like I mentioned before, it's promoting converting search terms after 2 orders, and then as you can see here, the manual flow promoting them from broad to exact is I want to see at least 3 orders with a 40% ACOS or lower, and then it is promoting them. So you can automate this inside of tools, and what that's going to do is do this process on autopilot. So I haven't manually moved any keywords in this time period that this is showing here. Last 30 days, 20 new keywords have been found from my manual campaigns, moved them up into the scale campaign to give them a really focused budget, and then I've also found 8 converting search term from my automatic campaigns. Now those numbers are relatively low for the amount we're spending, but I'm being quite strict on the criteria that we're setting, and so therefore I know that when these keywords do come through, they're actually going to be really relevant and have great potential in there. So like I say, you can either do that manually or you can do it with automation, but I prefer the automation because it saves so much time. Yes, you're going to have to pay for a PPC tool to do that, but what's more important, is it your time or is it your money? I know for me it is all about the time, so I definitely recommend checking out some systems like that. If you need any more help, or if anything in this video didn't make sense, let me know below. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of what keyword harvesting is, why you should be harvesting new keywords all the time to keep populating that long tail keyword list that you're going to be able to run profitable Amazon PPC for. If you want more help with PPC, you can take a deep dive into this. We do have an 11 module PPC course inside of Brand Builder University, which you can also check out below. And I will see you in the next video real soon.